Hello, my name is Deborah Harding and I'm the Managing Director at MRS. Welcome to this MRS webinar to discuss the MRS's Continuous Professional Development Programme. The webinar today will take about 30 minutes and I will be covering the following topics. What is Continuous Professional Development, or CPD as it is commonly known? I will talk about why MRS has CPD as part of its professional development offering and how you can personally benefit from CPD. I will then describe in more detail how the MRS CPD programme works and some specific tools that MRS has developed to help you maximise the benefit that you derive from CPD. Concluding with some next steps and some tips to help you to get started. So, what is CPD and why should you be interested? Continuous Professional Development, CPD, is an approach which can help you as part of your lifelong learning. CPD is a combination of approaches, ideas and techniques that help you manage your own learning, development, career planning and professional growth. CPD helps you to track and document the skills, knowledge and experiences that you can gain within your working and professional life. This includes formal learning such as training schemes and so on, but also the informal learning that we'll all do during our working lives. The focus of CPD is firmly on results, the advantages and benefits that professional development can bring you as a practitioner as you progress through your career. Whatever you are in your career now, at the start, in the transition, or close to the end, CPD is still relevant and it will help you to get where you want to be. MRS launched CPD as an exclusive MRS membership benefit in April 2014. MRS has had CPD before, but long ago, and the new scheme is a completely new, modern and fresh approach to CPD based upon established best practice models and supplemented by a bespoke MRS CPD online system. It was important that the MRS developed a CPD offering, as CPD is recognised as an essential for any profession which wishes to be taken seriously and to be recognised for its distinct contribution, its intellectual capital if you like. It is also important in providing positive differentiation from practitioners outside MRS and the sector. The thinking which underpins research, such as marketing science, data analytics, and insight, is constantly evolving. CPD is a way of recognising this and building structures to enable you to navigate your way through these changes as your career evolves. Wide-scale adoption of CPD also ensures that the overall quality and skills of practitioners in the sector improves as practitioners stay up to date, innovate and develop new learning. CPD provides a set of tools and frameworks for planning, tracking and recording your learning and development as you progress through your career. For those of you who wish to maximise your MRS membership and to gain recognition for your development, the CPD approach can also be used to help you upgrade your membership. So how can you benefit from MRS CPD programme? And if it sounds like something that interests you, then let me tell you a bit more about the benefits. Often when we think about professional development, the immediate thoughts are about training, and often the phrase training is used when referring to any number of different activities which contribute to professional development. As a general rule, training tends to involve some formal delivery and will be relatively linear, covering something specific relating to skill and competence. This, of course, can be anything from something relatively simple, such as how to use a PC application in your working environment, to something more complex, such as multivariate analysis. Professional development in its broadest and truest sense, however, often involves many forms of informal learning, from a very wide range of approaches and delivery mechanisms. The basic process, however, the learning curve, if you like, will be to progress from knowing nothing to basic knowledge to more advanced, more applied or more complex understanding or skills. CPD sits alongside professional development as a way of an individual self-documenting this process of learning. If you use CPD as part of your professional development toolkit, you will direct the process, focusing on the learning you need, reflecting on your development as you progress, and reviewing your plans as you go along. CPD will also enable you to set clear development goals and objectives, and crucially, will recognise all types of learning, whether formal or informal. However, for CPD to work, you must commit to the process. It should not be a tick box exercise. If used properly, the personal benefits that you can accrue from using CPD are manifold. Using CPD can save you a lot of time, enabling you to plan and structure your learning needs and your professional development. Proper career planning can accelerate your career and your professional development. As you become more competent with recognized knowledge and skills, you strengthen your professional credibility with current and future employers. On the practical side, CPD also makes you sure you don't forget what you've done and achieved. For many of us, all of our achievements are recorded in our personnel file, safely secured away in the HR department files. This is fine and ideal for employers, but this is not so great for you as an employee trying to keep track of everything you've achieved. CPD provides you with a permanent passport, if you like, of your professional development, assisting you in maintaining your CV, completing activities such as annual appraisals. Also, having more ownership of your professional development should also increase your job satisfaction, and it enables you to reflect on how much you are achieving from your professional activities. We all have our good weeks and we have our bad weeks, but knowing that we are developing our skills and knowledge, even during frustrating work periods, helps to retain a more positive perspective within your career. Finally, CPD can help you to achieve MRS certified membership. So that's the background about why CPD is important and how you can benefit. Now let's talk about how the MRS CPD program actually works. Ideally, it is best to use the full capacity of any CPD system, and MRS is no different. However, there are, in essence, 3 levels of activity that you can use a CPD system for. At its core, level 1, you can simply use a CPD system to record historic professional development activities you've undertaken and reflect on these. The next level, level 2, you can use CPD for future activities to plan your development needs, recording your activities as you go along, and reflect on your learning and track your progress against your professional development needs. To use the system to its fullest, level 3, you can use it to plan, record, reflect, but also use it to enable you to gain recognition with MRS for your achievements by upgrading your membership. Whether you want to use it for level 1, 2 or 3, it does not matter, as a system will work for you however you wish to use it. We wanted to ensure that the MRS CPD program was as wide as possible, recognising broad range of professional development covering both formal and informal learning. This includes from a variety of providers, not just MRS. The program recognises that in today's working environment, professional development comes from a wide range of sources, and our program needs to recognise that. So here are some examples of some formal learning. Studying for a qualification, attendance at training courses, conference, seminars, webinars or workshops, attendance at members' evenings or speaker events or networking events, attendance at MRS accredited training, for example, the company graduate training, and also if you are a sole author of books, papers, journals or articles. Informal examples include in-company development, if not accredited, reading, training of others, mentoring, awards, and contribution to the industry. This list is indicative, not exhaustive. Basically, if an element of identifiable learning results from something you have done, it should be recognised within the MRS CPD programme. In order to create structure by recognising such a breadth of provision, MRS has come up with a standard formula for allocating what are called CPD hours to each professional activity, both formal and informal. It should be noted that the CPD hour is not an actual time of activity, but rather the level of learning that an activity is likely to give you. All MRS activities that are recognised for CPD have already been allocated CPD hours. In order to make the process easier, MRS has also already pre-accredited a range of non-MRS provision, including professional development for other research associations such as ICG, AURA, BHBIA, AQR and so on, and also other marketing communication associations such as CIM, as well as individual employer training programs. This process of accrediting third-party provision will be continuous, and the list of materials pre-registered in the MRS Online CPD system will grow as the program expands. However, any and all provision, whether pre-accredited or not, can be included in the MRS CPD approach. It will be easy for you to spot pre-accredited provision as it will carry the MRS CPD badge, including the number of CPD hours for each activity, and will already be available as options for adding to your records into the MRS Online system. For learning not already pre-allocated hours, MRS will work out with you to identify the CPD hours for any activity you might have undertaken. It should be stressed that currently CPD is not mandatory for MRS members, although we strongly recommend it. As a minimum, MRS recommends that you complete at least 21 CPD hours a year to stay up to date with your professional development. Whilst recognising wide breadth of provision, it is important that some form of provision is undertaken each year, and within the 21 CPD hours, at least 14 hours should be formal. Doing less CPD hours per year does not diminish the value of the professional development you have undertaken, only that it won't equate to a CPD year, a requirement should you be interested in using CPD for upgrading your MRS membership grade. If you do more than 21 hours a year, this is great, and you will be recognised within the system. For those of you interested in using CPD to its fullest and using it to upgrade your membership, here is a reminder of the MRS membership hierarchy. You start as a member, the recognised professional grade is certified member, and if you've done something exceptional, you can be honoured by the Society and be recognised as a fellow. To give you an idea how CPD is used as a tool for membership upgrading, this table shows you the various routes that are available. As you can see, the more qualified and experienced you are, the fewer CPD years are needed before you are recognised and welcomed into the MRS certified member grade. Remember, a CPD year is 21 hours of CPD within a 12-month period. To help you understand what these 21 hours might be made up of, here is an illustration using some of the MRS provision. Qualification studies have a maximum of 21 hours. That's equivalent to a CPD year. Attendance at a training course or a workshop will have a maximum of 18 hours depending on the length and depth of the training. Generally, a one-day course will be 6 hours, a two-day course 12 hours, and so on. So that provides you with more detail about the programme. So what MRS tools are there available to help you with your CPD? The MRS approach to CPD is based around 4 stages. Plan your professional development, learn and develop, evaluate and reflect, and track your progress. One of the most difficult parts of the process, in many ways, is getting started and really thinking about what kind of professional development you need. Often we have ideas on what we think we need, but it can be difficult to contextualise this into a clear plan. MRS has developed an MRS professional development framework to help you with this. Framework provides you with the types of competencies that a typical researcher and insight professional would need to be successful in their careers. The framework recognises the differences between working client and supply side and is flexible enough to enable you to identify those competencies that you need to make the most of your career. So how does this help you get started? To develop a personal development plan, a PDP, you need to reflect on achievements, learn to capitalise on strengths, identify and address areas of development, set goals, identify new knowledge and skills, reflect on new learning, and record the new learning. In order to do this, you need to ask yourself some key questions. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? And how can I get there? So using the professional development framework, if we take one segment as an example, personal effectiveness. In terms of your competence, enhancing your personal effectiveness skills enables you to progress your personal profile and contribution within your organisation, developing your abilities to influence others, advance your career, and build your network and become an expert in your field. The kinds of knowledge and skills and behaviours that you would need to do this effectively are: assess and identify personal effectiveness, including strengths and weaknesses. Identify and work with individuals to assist in developing personal skills, particularly addressing weaknesses. Develop skills working effectively as part of a team, understanding your role and responsibilities and how this relates to others. Set personal development targets, including addressing weaknesses, and develop approaches to enable these targets to be met. Assist others in developing their knowledge and skills. Taking these competencies, the kinds of questions you might ask yourself would be: how do I need to develop? Improve time management. What will I do to achieve this? Learn more about time management techniques. What resources or support will I need? Attend a training course to assist in learning new techniques for time management. From this initial plan, you can then set a detailed plan to achieve this. The MRS CPD online system, which supports the programme, enables you to do this as it is structured around entering key information. Using this approach, setting a target review date, for example, could be June 2021. Setting a target completion date could be, for example, a month after the course. The objective could be to learn time management techniques and acknowledge your bad habits of time management and implement new techniques to overcome these. The action required in this case might be to attend an in-house time management course. The resources required could be in-house training materials, and to measure the effectiveness of the training might be to track your effectiveness for completing tasks, measure your success at achieving targets and deadlines. What this approach does is it enables you to identify your specific learning and development needs, uncovering gaps in your skills and capabilities, to focus your efforts on the gaps that are hindering you, and enables you to target and direct your efforts to your maximum advantage, enables you to capture useful learning experiences, and enables you to reflect on the practical benefits of what you have learnt. It also enables you to identify what you weren't able to do before and that you are now competent to do it. And it opens up other avenues for development. This is not the only tool that is available to you. MRS CPD also has a tool to enable members to progress through the MRS membership grades and to achieve recognition as a certified member of MRS, the professional grade of membership. These are the 12 membership benchmark standards that MRS uses to assess when an individual has met the standards necessary to be recognised as a certified member of the Society. These benchmark standards were developed by your fellow practitioners and reflect what is required to be recognised as a fully fledged member of the profession. There are 12 standards. Standard 1 is the ethical and legal considerations governing the conduct of MRS members. Standard 2 is research within its broad political, economic, social and technological context. Standard 3 is the role of research in decision-making within an organisation. Standard 4 is client and supplier relationships in research. Standard 5 is project management, including planning and use of resources. Standard 6 is oral and/or written communication skills. Standard 7 is awareness and evaluation of research methodologies. Standard 8 is conducting all or part of a research project. Standard 9 is a nominated specialist area in research. Standard 10 is quality control and assessment in research. Standard 11 is commitment to your own personal and professional development. And Standard 12 is a commitment to the development of others and the profession. All of these standards are important, and MRS expects all MRS certified members to meet these standards. However, within the 12, there are some standards which must be met for a member to be considered for upgrading to a certified membership. These are Standard 1, ethical and legal considerations governing the conduct of MRS members. Standard 2, research within its broad political, economic, social and technological context. Standard 3, the role of research in decision-making within an organisation. Standard 7, awareness and evaluation of research methodologies. Standard 8, conducting all or part of a research project. Standard 9, a nominated specialist area in research. Standard 10, quality control and assessment in research. So taking the CPD approach we used before, to remind you, this was reflect on achievements, learn to capitalise on strengths, identify and address areas of development, set goals, identify new knowledge and skills, reflect on new learning and record new learning. In the context of focusing development to enable you to upgrade, you would need to identify which of the mandatory benchmark standards you already achieved, those which you may need to set goals to develop your knowledge and skills, and the key questions you need to be asking yourself are, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And how can I get there? Again, if we take through a worked example, let's assume that you need to improve your understanding of legal and ethical considerations, which is the first of the 12 benchmark standards and one of the mandatory standards for being able to upgrade to certified membership. How do you need to develop? An example might be that you need to improve your understanding of the Data Protection Act 2018 and its application to research. What will you need to do to achieve this? This is the kind of topic where you might undertake a large part of informal self-study to improve your knowledge and understanding. So in this instance, reading about the topic and accessing any in-house expertise via line managers might be a suitable plan for tackling this standard. In this example, the kind of resources or support that you will need will include some information from the MRS and Information Commissioner's website and some in-house mentoring from your line manager. Using the MRS CPD approach, a possible professional development plan for improving your understanding of legal and ethical considerations can then be produced. So this could be, you could set a target review date for October 2021 with a target completion date several months later, for example, December 2021. The objective could be to learn about the Data Protection Act and how it applies to research. The action you need to take could include reading around the topic, access mentoring from an in-house expert who is your line manager. The resources required could include website materials that are freely available and agreement of line manager to mentor you. Your measurement of whether you've achieved your objective could be to ask your line manager, who is the in-house expert, to mentor you through this process and to test your knowledge with real-life examples from day-to-day work. So where do you go from here? Your immediate next steps are, if you've not already created a CPD account within the MRS online system, email MRS at cpd@mrs.org.uk to have your own personal CPD account created. Within 2 days, you will receive an email confirming your CPD registration with login details. Once you've logged on, you will have access to your CPD dashboard. From here, you can create your own personal development plan, the PDP, and start on your continuous professional development journey. Doubtless, you will have questions along the way. The MRS CPD Handbook is a useful resource to help you get started. The handbook includes some useful guidance, including screenshots for using the online CPD system, plus some FAQs. So, some final tips. Think about where you want your career to be in 2, 5, and 10 years' time, and identify specific and achievable objectives to help you get there. Set short, medium, and long-term objectives which are manageable for you and reflect your working life. Review your objectives on a regular basis and refine them, at least every 3 months. Keep your objectives relevant. Your plans may change. If they do so, so should your personal development plan. As you go along, link your PDP objective to the MRS benchmark standards and or the professional development framework. Remember to always reflect on your learning and to be honest with yourself when you do so. If something has not worked out, set a different plan to meet your objective. And that is it for now. I wish you the best with your careers. I look forward to welcoming you in as a participant on the MRS's CPD programme.